Do you ever feel like you struggle with Genshin? Do you sometimes feel like the game just takes too long? Well, if you do, it is actually not just you, as I found out recently, and it is actually very simple things that you can do to make the game just so much more enjoyable to yourself. So I compiled my list of 7 of the most helpful tips that will help you improve your gameplay while still allowing you to play the game the way you want to play it, by affecting your actual gameplay as little as possible. So let's get right into the video with the first tip. The change of difficulty from area to area can be actually quite noticeable, and when the time comes around, you might not be sure what the issue is and why it takes you so long to kill the enemies that you're fighting. Maybe you think you have to level up your characters, maybe you level up your weapons. Well, you can, but it is actually only a partial solution. What you actually want to do is go ahead and upgrade your artifacts at least once in a while. As you explore the game, you will be bombarded with artifacts anyway, from every single chest that you open, and maybe sometimes even as quest rewards. And there really is no reason to hold on to every single one of them, so pick the one that is best for you and throw it on your character. However, it isn't as simple as going on the internet and looking out the best in slot artifact, because truth be told, early game artifacts, they are kind of bad. So your best option really is to invest into those artifacts that you can actually make work. Good stats to normally go for with characters that do damage is attack and attack percentage. If you need energy recharge to push the ultimate button quite a bit more, maybe you have to use a timepiece of energy recharge. I don't have one on this account, but you can, again, just go for even more attack. Early on, the best artifacts to upgrade are feathers and flowers, as those ones give you rather massive bonuses to base HP and base attack, often exceeding how much even your weapon gives you. As a note, some characters do actually not use attack to deal more damage, but might use their HP or defense to do that. To know if that is the case, just look at the skills of your character, and if you stumble upon max HP or defense, that character scales with those 2 stats instead, making attack far less important. With upgraded artifacts, your character is now just generally a lot stronger than without them, and make sure to also at least partially upgrade the artifacts of your other characters in your party, apart from your main DPS. As sub DPS and support characters still make up a huge chunk of your damage, and might even make up the majority of your damage depending on how your party is set up later on. So I also don't want to give you the completely wrong impression. Should you specifically farm artifacts early on? No, you absolutely shouldn't. That is a very bad idea. The reason for it is simple. While it might be tempting to already have the right artifacts you might need later on, maybe even really strong ones, at least they seem really strong, you shouldn't specifically farm the artifact domains until you can get access to the highest or second highest level of the domain to get access to 5-star artifacts, as those are the ones giving you the biggest bonus. And once that point comes and you found artifacts already beforehand, you might end up in a situation where all the fragile resin you had before might just be gone now, and that will make grinding them a lot more painful. That means you should still use up your daily resin, but just make sure to not touch your fragile resin and stockpile it for later on, once you reach adventuring 40 or 45, so you can make full use of the loot that you get from those domains. When you explore the world, you will stumble upon oculi you don't want to collect or might not be able to collect, maybe puzzles you can't finish or shrines of the depth you can't open yet. Just make sure to actually mark them on the map, so later on, maybe far later on, you can go back to them and do them, as it gives you some sort of overview in a game that is packed with collectibles to a point where some people would go mad. It's just a nice thing to be able to know where that last Electro Oculi is that you needed to finally finish a statue to level 10. Trust me, you don't want to have the feeling of missing one Electro Oculi that you simply walked past 4 months ago and now you can't find it. I am an expert. You can also bookmark mining spots. This way you can collect massive amounts of ores really fast. Generally, I use the leaf symbol to mark shrines of the depth, the quest symbol to mark puzzles I simply haven't completed yet, the star symbol to mark oculi, and the pickaxe to mark mining spots. All of that will just make your game later on a lot more relaxing, and you can also remove them later on if they clutter your map. Instead of having to look up every single item individually, you can now just use your map as it's intended to be used. Okay, you might have heard that Genshin Impact is quite grindy, especially towards the endgame, but regardless of what you're collecting, be it more level up books or artifacts, you can have all of that grind using one simple item. And all you have to do for that is go to the reputation manager of Leeway, reach level 3 and collect the rewards for the Condensed Resin, allowing you to now make Condensed Resin, which costs you 40 resin, but in all those domains and activities where you use up 20 resin normally, it now allows you to collect twice the reward for half the time, and even allows you to store up to 5 condensed resin if you ever feel lazy and simply do not want to do your daily resin spending. Yes, it also comes with a battle pass. Apart from leveling up weapons, you can do one more thing to make them better, and that is refining them. This will use up the same weapon to refine the weapon you already own, keeping the level but increasing the bonus trait by 25% each time you do this. And especially with craftable weapons, you can use the bookmarks you made earlier to craft many 4-star weapons and create the penultimate weapon that no one can stop. It also works with any other weapon. And with craftable weapons, that is especially easy because all the materials you can just gather from the world and there's no RNG involved in it. So this one is a big one that I think a lot of players might not do intentionally, but you don't actually have to save up your primogems that hard. The chance of getting a 5-star in one pull is really rare. But you do get 4-star characters, weapons and more. And with the amount of primogems you get early on, being truly unholy, just go ahead and pull if you think the character on the banner is even decently interesting. Sure, you aren't getting that one anyway, but at least you're getting something. And as long as you don't pull on the weapon banner, all the pity towards the next 5-star character is saved up anyway, even for any banner after this one. So don't be so stringent on yourself, especially since maybe the 4-star character or weapon can really help you. And on a last point, if you ever wanted to play the game like a pro, get yourself together a semi-decent team, get semi-decent artifacts, and just spam every single character skill and their ultimate as you switch through them, before switching to your main character to deal damage. It may look like keyboard smashing, but it is actually really effective and makes you feel like a real pro, as you're optimally using all of your character's abilities, kinda, and creating a lot of elemental reactions for even more damage. But which of those tips helped you the most? Did you actually know all of them, or were some of them new to you? Tell me what you think in the comments, and maybe you have a tip that I missed out on. Anyway, this is all from me, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, remember to leave a like, subscribe, and maybe even check out my other videos. Also, big shout out to all my Patreon supporters, and see you next time!